Good afternoon and warm welcome to all. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our community conversations jointly brought to you by Facebook and TomoWork. Our session today is titled The Power of Building and Empowering the Differently Abled Community.
The power of inclusive brand has the potential to create a better participative society where everyone is not just included, but meaningfully participating in the co-creation of values.
What are some of your views on the evolving role of brands and businesses in society today?
In recent years, consumers now have different more demanding expectations of the brands and the businesses. Over 70% of buyers now want to buy from brands who are ethical.
There are so many different ways that brands can help agendas and help broaden the minds of people. The role of business is to get the economy going, to get people into work, to give those people dignity and highest possible quality of lives, to project an image onto the world that is helpful and aspirational.
The key question for many employers is really how to make this effort sustainable, something that requires a fundamental shift in business processes and talent solutioning.
How can we also be inclusive when we are a B2B business, dealing with governments, dealing with other businesses, and not directly with consumers?
We're always thinking about the customer experience and consumer inclusiveness. Equally important is the employee experience. Look at the employee experience. So mapping out the work process and how that can pan out for a worker with disability.
We are seeing business buyers expect the same transparency as they do in their consumer lives. So I think people are applying the same principles to business decision making as we are in our personal lives.
It's also very relevant to them, even if they're B2B, to have their websites, their marketing communications to be fully inclusive.
Brands that are compelling and are inclusive, some of them are also brands that take a stance. They are part of the social, sometimes political commentary. What are some of the ways in which brands can navigate that space, express a point of view, but at the same time don't alienate a huge chunk of their customer base?
The closer you can come to your brand strategy and your brand purpose, and the closer you can execute that, the better and more authentic. You don't even need to necessarily always be talking about topical things within your social media if you are living it through everything.
Knowing what your brand purpose is and what your brand values are, and making sure that your product and your internal efforts can stand up to scrutiny.
It's actually for brands organizations to think about what needs to be done, not how it should be done. So it's a journey. It's about learning from your customers and your colleagues and thinking differently about working flexibly, offering services that are more accessible.
How do we operationalize all of these concepts, create an inclusive brand?
For us, it is driven from the employees up. Looking at your organization, you can lead from the top, but equally every location, every country, every market has its own issues, has its own communities who need to be included. So intentionally think about diversifying your network, I think, is something we can all individually do, no matter what the position of our organizations is, and we can drive change from there.
It's about empowering people at local levels, empowering kind of any sort of grassroots movement. But what we can all do, the first thing we can do is learn from disabled people, with disabled people, watch, read. There's so much stuff on Netflix at the moment.
Inclusion initiatives are effective only when an organization and its employees work closely to address the gaps in fostering the sense of belonging at the workplace.
I'd like to thank our speakers, Catherine, Winnie, Marianne, for such a meaningful conversation about this timely theme, this topic.
Thank you and goodbye.